Hi students, this is section 7.1 and we're going to actually take section 7 and break it up into two sections, and really it's because we're going to do the first section is like stage, screen, film, well that's film, stage, screen, and descriptive music used in other forms, and then the second section is very much going to be something that is taking more of the performance orientation of music from a stage standpoint. Also, we're gonna use musical theater and opera in this. I'm playing right now something we played actually early on. This is a piece called Slava by Leonard Bernstein. Leonard Bernstein is a very well-known composer, performer, and conductor. He also he was a great musical theater composer. He was a composer for the musical West Side Story. He wrote for a few other musicals, for some film. Bernstein was part of I guess we could say, a very intellectual group of people who had they had this classical upbringing, and they also wrote for the stage because they realized that medium was really powerful. What is stage musical? Stage musical is this. It's an American invention, like jazz was an American invention, ragtime. So is the stage musical. Something is defined as a stage musical when it has drama and music in it, but that through the music, the storyline is told. You can have a movie and have a song sung in it and it not tell the storyline. Or you can have part of the love scene be sung through you know, the songs of a stage musical. And that's the point of stage musicals. It's a combination of vaudeville, operetta, which is small opera, and then plays. So that kind of morphed into, hey, let's do some stage musicals. The guy who wrote this this really popular, actually it was in World War I. It was his name. Hold on a second. Oh, and I just moved it over here for you guys. It's here. Okay, it's a thing called Over There. Over There was a song written by a guy. In his name is I'm so sorry. Oh brother. Anyway, Over There. It was George M. Cohan. Cohan wrote several stage musicals. They were all very patriotic, and he had these were written in the teens and the 20s. And then he wrote all the way into the 40s and 50s. He starred in almost every single one. He wrote like 42 or 43 stage musicals. And he wrote like Yankee Doodle Dandy, You're a Grand Old Flag. He wrote a lot of patriotic songs, but they so many of them tied into the storyline. Okay, Leonard Bernstein is known as a great composer, and he wrote really cool, complex stuff for the musical West Side Story. West Side Story had a lot of cutting-edge stuff, and the cutting-edge stuff, first of all, some of the content of the music, he wrote this thing on mambo, which was just so well done. It really represented the Puerto Rican culture. But he wrote this thing called the quintet in West Side Story. There were 5 factions: the Jets, the Sharks, those are the warring factions. By the way, you know West Side Story is Romeo and Juliet. Yeah. Then you have Romeo and Juliet, which is Tony and Maria, and then you have the girlfriend of the leader of the Sharks, the Puerto Rican group. All 5 of those people had all 5 of those factions had significant stuff going on before a rumble. This 5 things going on at once was just mind-blowing for the medium of musical theater. He wrote some very complex, iconic stuff in West Side Story. It actually won a Tony. They made it a film, and it won an Academy Award. I mean, it was super cool. This is from the film, actually. This is not the Broadway scene. But he just had the 2 the two gangs. Now this is the girlfriend of the leader of the Sharks. She sings, and then Maria, the Juliet character, sings in just a moment here. Oh, I'm sorry, this is Tony, the Romeo character.
Tonight, tonight won't be just any night. Tonight there will be
And
no morning star. Tonight.
I'm going to skip ahead a little. This is the Maria, this is the Juliet character. So we've heard all five now. We heard Anita right after the gangs, both the gangs, Tony and Maria. And the storyline is like super complex. Oh, this is going to be a great night. And the gangs are going, we're going to kick butt. And the Anita character, she's saying, that little Maria better not get herself in trouble. So it's so well done. It was not uncommon for great composers of the era to also write for stage. Now, not every one was as successful as Bernstein was, but you might recognize Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals. He wrote together. They wrote, I think it was 14 really popular musicals. Oklahoma was one of them. The King and I, Sound of Music. They wrote a Cinderella. They also made a lot of innovations. Can you hear this? This is Oklahoma. Yep. It's actually Hugh Jackman. I don't know if you know this, but Hugh Jackman was a stage performer before he was a film performer. And he really made a splash with Curly is his name in Oklahoma. It's interesting. The stage musical, like an opera, has they have a prelude, and that prelude is usually a really substantial part of the musical. In Oklahoma, in the prelude, this tune starts, and that nobody had ever done that before, and so he kind of broke a mold. Rodgers and Hammerstein, when they did this, they also included this ballet scene, which told part of the story. It was a dream sequence that tells a kind of a nightmare and a premonition of what's going to happen with a love interest that's going on. This musical happened to innovate a lot of things as well. Today's stage musicals that are very popular. I mean, many of you maybe have heard of the Book of Mormon. There are several, we know that Hamilton is super popular. A lot of them make social statements. Rodgers and Hammerstein, they made just nice, clean, squeaky clean musicals, but then later they started to make statements in the 60s, and when statements were being made strongly. Actually, West Side Story was meant to be, it was in the late 50s, that was meant to be a social statement about the great influx of Puerto Ricans that were in New York City at the time. Very interesting, and also a huge part of American culture.